Hey Divi Nation, welcome to a brand new Divi use case live stream where each week we show you how to add new design and functionality to your Divi website. And today, excuse me, I'm going to be showing you how to design a responsive contact form using VW and VH length units. And we'll cover how to size and space the text, input fields, and buttons so that they respond to the width and height of your browser. Don't forget to check the video description for a link to the blog post for more information on this use case. And without wasting any time, let's go ahead and jump in and get started. All right, welcome everyone. Hopefully you can hear me loud and clear. Give me a thumbs up and let us know where you're from in the comments. Excited to get started. As you can see, I don't know if you can see, I got my Divi shirt on, so it's going to be a special live stream today. Not sure if that matters, but we are definitely going to be covering some, some technical ways of making sure your forms are responsive. And this would apply to not just contact forms, but just general responsive design practices using the VW and VH length units. On my screen right now, you can see the post that goes along with this tutorial. Went out today on our blog, so go ahead and check that out for more information if you need. Thanks for the thumbs up, guys. Glad you can hear me. Okay, good. Again, please feel free to ask any questions in the comments, and I'll get to them as we go along. The first thing that you want to do is make sure that you have Divi theme active and installed on your WordPress website. Make sure that's ready to go. And aside from that, we'll be building a page from scratch. So go ahead and make a new page and we'll get started. The other thing, well, let's just go ahead and show you the quick sneak peek of where we're going to go today, what we're going to be building. As you can see, I have this nice big full width contact form here. And the main thing we want to concentrate on is how this responds to the browser. So I'm using the Chrome browser here, and I'm inspecting this element so that I can really show you how it responds when I shrink the browser width. And I'll show you how it responds when shrinking the browser width and also the height to show you how and this is a great way to keep the contact form visible even on like a landscape view mode on mobile and things like that. And so as you can see, as I scroll down, the design stays consistent throughout. There's no jumping around or anything like that. It's nice and smooth. When it gets down to, this is about where the tablet view is here, and then it continues on, and this is where it gets to mobile. And you can see that it's different on mobile, and that's because I wanted to maximize the height of the form fields on mobile. And so I concentrated on using the VH length unit to size these fields and text and things. And the reason is because, mobile has a set height on your phone. So as you can see, if I shrink the height of my browser on mobile, you can see that everything scales and adjusts nicely. And as you can see, if I were to view this on like a landscape view mode on a mobile device, I can see much more of my form as opposed to, having to scroll a lot. So this is just a tip on how to customize your form and really your design in general to adjust to those browser widths without having to, get real technical with adjusting your options or your length units on each device. And I'll show you how to do that. All right, so that's where we're going. Actually, we're going to be doing the contact form here in this tutorial, but I've also included a email opt-in form as well. And you can see this has the same design technique. So if I scroll down to my form here, opt-in form, you can see it responds nicely when adjusting the height and width as well. And there's actually a free download of this layout with these two designs, these two forms on it on our blog post. So go ahead and grab that. It is free. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in and get started. We'll want to, I'm going to be building from scratch on the front end using the Divi builder. And let's really quick, let me just say hello to those of you who are saying hi in the chat here. Welcome, Alan, Uncle Social, Argante, I believe is how you say it. Not sure. Welcome from, let's see, from Holland. We have X Snooze. Welcome. Thank you guys for posting these comments. Continue to do so. And oh, hello, Exonic from Switzerland. All right. Let's go ahead and keep going. So I'm building from scratch on the front end using the Divi builder. I'm going to go ahead and create a full width row here with a one column layout. And the first thing I want to do is go ahead and create our contact form, but actually before we create our contact form or add any modules, I'm going to back up and just start from the section area, and let's just add some customizations here. That way, you know, when we add, you know, like white text on a, we'll be able to see it. So I'm going to give a color to my section here. And while I'm looking into that, just a note here, if you're ever curious as to, you know, I've had some questions in the blog posts about, you know, when is it appropriate to use VW and VH length units as opposed to like pixels or percentages, you know, in responsive design. This hopefully will kind of answer those questions for you. But if you do want more information, there is a post that I wrote that called A Guide to Understanding and Applying CS Length Units in Divi. So go ahead and search for that on our blog. And this goes into great detail about what the length units are and what they do. The one we're covering today is a VW and VH, which is a relative length unit. And basically it adjusts, or it is relative to the viewport width or the browser viewport width, as opposed to a percentage, which is, you know, relative to the container. So if you set a percentage of a module, or if you set a module with a, say, 50% width, that's going to be 50% of the column that it's in, as opposed to if you set it to a 50 VW, which would be 50% of the actual browser width. So hopefully that makes sense. But at any point you want to learn more, check out that blog post. Guide to Understanding and Applying CS Length Units in Divi. All right, enough of the intro stuff. Let's get going. So I'm going to go to my section here, and I'm simply going to add a gradient background. And this is purely for design purposes. So I'm just going to add a left gradient color here. Also a right gradient color. All right. And then let's go ahead and save that out. All right, for my row, I'm going to also give it a gradient background. So let's do that. Wrong color. There we go. Right. All right, let's go ahead and size our row. Now, it's important to know that whenever you're using the VW and VH length units, that you want to try to remain consistent with those length units throughout your design. That way everything will scale nice and smoothly. Uh, Generally, you don't want to mix the length units up too much. There are times when you can use pixels and percentages, and I'll show you a little bit of when to use which one as we go along. But this is where we'll add our first VW length unit, and I'm just going to add it to the row here. So I'm going to go to my row size. Let's give it a width of 66 VW. So that is not 66. Hold on. All right, so 66 VW, which is roughly 66 or 2/3 the width of your browser. And let's just move it out the way so you can see kind of how the size of that row. And I want to go ahead and open up my responsive devices here. I'm going to go to my tablet and also give it a 66 VW. And for phone, I'm just going to set it to 100%. And the reason I do that for phone is because the VW length unit doesn't adjust to or doesn't account for that scroll bar on the side of your page. So it's going to not take that into account, whereas a percentage does. So in general, whenever you're setting something to completely full width, like the full width of your page, you'll want to use 100% as opposed to 100 view width, or the 100 VW. And then I'm going to do the same for max width. I'm just going to add on desktop, make it 66 VW, tablet the same. And phone 100%. There you go. Now it's more the full size now that I've taken out that max width there. All right, let's go ahead and take out the padding. We don't need that. So take out that default top and bottom padding. Set it to 0. And now we're ready to create our contact form. So I'm going to go to my row here, and I'm going to add a contact form module. All right, I'm going to give my form here a title. I'm just going to call it Contact Us. And I'm going to take out the Captcha here. You can include it, but I didn't really concentrate on the design of the Captcha in this design. So I'm just going to take it out under Elements here. All right. Let's see, it might be easier if I just put my settings mode over here, float it to the right so you can see the full design here. All right. Now, before we get too much into the contact form here, if you are just joining us, I do want to welcome you to this week's Divi use case live stream. And today I'm going to be showing you how to design a responsive contact form using VW and VH length units in Divi. And of course, for more information, check the video description for the link to the blog post for more information on how to do this, if you have any questions. And also there's a link to the Divi product page if you don't have Divi yet. So go ahead and check that out. All right, let's get back to it. We're going to start designing and adding our VW and VH length units to our contact form here to make it responsive. Let's go ahead and first we're going to make, right now our name and email fields are not made full width, so we'll want to do that. I want to make them full width here. So I'm going to click on my name field and change the layout to full width. Do the same for email. Now they're both full width there. Now let's go back to the contact form settings, the general settings, And let's go to the design and let's open up our field options. Now, with a recent update to Divi, you have more control over your form fields, which is really nice. You have, for example, the ability to set custom margins and padding, which is very helpful for the responsive design for your forms. Let's go ahead and set our field text color. Let's just give it a nice darker gray there. And then for the fields margin, let's come down here. And the margin, of course, is the space between each of these fields. And I'm going to set a VW length unit for the top and bottom. I'm going to set 2 VW. Now it's going to be a small value here because remember, we're taking into account the entire width of your browser. So this is roughly 2% of your browser width. That's the size of the margin in between the fields. So let's make the same on the top and bottom. And then for the fields, let's see. Oh yeah, for phone, let's go ahead and toggle that. And for phone, let's go ahead and make it a VH length unit. So instead of 2 VW, we're going to do 2 VH. And that's just going to, as you can see, it kind of created more space. And that's because the VH is taking into account the height of your viewport. So this would be roughly 2%, or exactly 2% of the viewport height. Let's do the same for the top and bottom there. And for the padding, we're going to set the 1 VW top padding, and the same for the bottom. Oops, yeah, that's right. Let's go back to my desktop view mode. And then for the left, let's do 2 VW padding and the same on the right. And then of course we want to, on phone, we want to change that to a 2 VH, so for the view height, and then the same for the bottom. As you can see, it has more space now on the mobile view or phone view. All right, let's do the same for the padding as well. So let's make it 2 VH on the left and right on phone. All right, so let's go ahead and toggle back to my desktop mode here, and let's go down to our text size. Now you can do the same thing for text size as well. You can apply the VW length unit to a text size, and that'll make it span along with your browser width. Just be careful. In general, you don't want to use it too often, like for body text, because you want to keep that pretty consistent, and it can get really small if you're not careful, or really large if you're not careful. So, but we can kind of find a sweet spot here for our field text size. And what I'm going to do is add a 2.5 VW. And as you can see now, that's, really nice and large on the full, large desktop view. And then for phone though, we're going to change that to a VH length unit. And here's where you can see what I'm talking about. You see the VW. If I left it like that, once the viewport width gets so small for the phone, it will shrink your text really small. So you don't want that. You want to change that to a VH so that it spans with the height of your viewport. So there you go, nice and large now on mobile as well. And then that takes care of our fields. Let's go ahead and jump over to our title text, and that's the contact us thing text up here. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a heading or H2 level, and let's make it just give it Carla font and make it bold. Let's go ahead and make it, or give it a custom color here. match the design. And then for our text size, we're going to use the VW length unit again. So for this one, we're going to do a 7 VW. And I'm still on mobile here, so let me go ahead and toggle out of that. Let's go to my desktop view mode. Sorry about that. And so as you can see now, it's nice and large with the 7 VW value. And for my title text, I'm going to make it 8 view height for mobile. And you can see that it'll adjust nicely there. All right. We can add some line spacing, and you can actually use the VW length unit for line spacing as well. For example, I can just set it to 1 VW for my line spacing. And for my line height, oh, I did the wrong one, sorry. Line spacing is in that one. And make sure you can see that. All right, so there's my line spacing. And then for my line height, let's do 0.6 EM. Now, the EM length value is commonly used for line height because it is relative to the parent text size. So in this case, it is, my title text size is 7 VW. So this is basically 60% of the 7 VW size there. So we can use the EM length unit and it'll still adjust nicely with the VW text size. All right, so there you go. Let's go ahead and continue. Make sure we're about to customize our button here. All right, so just checking the questions here. We have a question from Exonic. What does margin and padding? I need, if you wouldn't mind elaborating, or if I've already answered your question, let me know. I want to make sure and answer your question, and I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. So feel free to elaborate if you can. Dave has a question about changing the color of the Captcha text. Let's see, just real quick, the Captcha text is here. They have options for the Captcha text in the builder here, and you can just change the color right there. All right. Let's get back to our title text. I think we're done with our title text. Now we're going to go to our button. So here's our button. As you can see, it's got the default. We're back up, and we had a brief disconnection with our live stream there. Hopefully we're back up and running. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right. Okay, I think we're good. Let's go ahead and continue on the button here. Let's go ahead and use custom styles for our button. We are going to be using the VW length unit for our button text size. So let's go ahead and do that. Right now it is 20 pixels. We're going to change that to 2.5 VW on desktop. As you can see, it's gotten nice and large here to match our design. And let's go ahead and on phone, let's give it a 4 VH. There you go. All right, let's go ahead and keep our text color. Let's change it to white, give it a background color. Let's make it a dark gray here. Make sure you can see the design. All right, let's scroll back up. The button border width, let's take that out. And let's go ahead and make our font Serif. And then let's go ahead and do our our button margin here. So this is also nice. One of the option harmony updates here where we can add button margin and button padding, which is a nice addition. Actually, we might have had button padding already, but maybe not button margin. Not sure, but it's cool nonetheless. So I'm going to do 1 VW margin for my button on the top. And for my button padding, I'm going to do 3 VW on the top, and then 3 VW on the bottom here. And then for the left, actually I'm going to keep it, I'm not going to do left and right because I'm going to show you how to make this button span full width later on if we have time. But that's how our button looks right now. Let's do on phone here. Let's make sure our button has that VH length unit. Let's do 3 VH. That's 2 VH. Let's do 3 VH on phone on the top and bottom. All right. And I think we're good there. Let's go ahead and add some spacing to our contact form. So let's jump over to our spacing settings. Let's make sure you can see that spacing. Yep, you can. Okay, so margin, actually just some padding is what we're going to do. So I'm going to do some top padding on desktop. Let's do 3 VW. Go ahead and toggle my desktop view mode. All right, so there's my top padding. I'm just adding some top padding and bottom padding to my form here. And again, using the VW length unit. Bottom VW, 3 VW, and the left, let's make it 5 VW on the left and right. Now it's nice spaced using our responsive design elements there. All right. And that's basically it for the basic setup. I'm gonna show you how to, make our button full width here in a moment. But for now, we can check out the design. I'm gonna save it out, publish my page. Let's see what it looks like live. There you go. So let me go ahead and inspect it and show you what it looks like as we shrink the browser. There you go. All right. So you can get an idea of what it would look like on different devices. Like, for example, this is a Pixel 2, which looks nice. iPhone 5, which is small, but we can still see the full form, and it's got enough width. Looks nice. Let's see, iPhone 6 here. All right, so let's go back to our responsive design here. As you can see, the length unit on mobile adjusts according to the height. And of course, when we go to tablet and desktop view, it adjusts to the width. All right, let's see how we're doing on time, see if we have any questions before I go ahead and show you how to make that button full width. All right. All right, so all right, thank you, Uncle Social. Yes, I borrowed BJ's potato router. That's why I keep getting my live stream disconnected. Okay, good. Let's see. Doesn't look like we have any questions. Let's see. Some of our questions are not in English. I apologize. I will not be able to, I think that's German, if I'm not mistaken. I wish I knew German. Sorry. maybe someone else can translate that or get it translated for me. But I appreciate the question nonetheless. It looks like we're good to go. Let me get back to showing you our last tip here, which is to make our button go full width. As you can see, by default, it's going to be floated to the right underneath our fields here. And to do that is actually not too difficult. Basically, it's going to involve a little snippet of custom CSS, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is go to my button again. So I'm going to go back to Divi here, open my contact form, and let's go to our button, our advanced tab here. Go to custom CSS and find the button, the contact button. It's right here. So basically, I'm going to change this to give it a custom width of 97%. It's 97% because I'm adjusting to some default margins to the left or right, I believe. But this kind of gets us right in our sweet spot that we need. As you can see, nothing has happened yet because we have one more thing to add. So after you add the width, 97% for our contact button, I'm going to open up the page settings here in our bottom menu here, page settings menu. Go to advanced tab, and we're going to add a snippet of custom CSS to our button container. And right now that button container is actually floated, so we want to get rid of that. So I'm going to add this really small snippet basically that says float none to the container. And as you can see, now our button is nice and full width, which looks great. Let's go ahead and save it out. And let's check it out on the live site. There you go. You can see that button will adjust beautifully as well. And these same design techniques, of course, can be applied to like a login form or an email opt-in form in Divi. And I've actually included, just to remind you, I've included an email opt-in form with the download on the blog post that went out today. So go ahead and grab that so you can have a working model for yourself as well. All right, any last questions I can answer here? Oh, I see. Thank you for clarifying. Argante, or I think that's how you pronounce it, but you were asking some other German participants. So that's all right. It's okay if I'm out of the loop for that, I guess. I appreciate that. Let's see. All right, so I don't think we have any more questions specific to this. A question about regarding the theme builder. All I can say, it's coming soon, I believe, and I know we're all waiting for that. Okay, great. So if we don't have any more questions, let me go ahead and check Facebook here. All right, we're good to go, guys. Again, this live stream video will be posted with the blog post eventually, so you'll always have a chance to come back and rewatch it, and also be posted to YouTube and Facebook as well. All right. That's all I got for you this week, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Please be sure to subscribe to our blog newsletter, our YouTube channel, and like us on Facebook. That way you don't miss out on any future freebies we'll be throwing your way, and also any live streams that will be coming your way. We will be back here next Tuesday with another Divi use case live stream. But before that, go ahead and check out our next live stream, which is Friday with BJ, and that's the weekly WP roundup. So you'll want to check that out Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And of course, if you want to share your own knowledge, expertise, skills with the Elegant or on our Elegant Themes blog, Go ahead and check the link in the video description for more information on how you can contribute your own unique content. Thanks again, and I'll be seeing you soon.